warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
How are you today? Okay, dear Mr. Eros Regina Safa, as the course lecturer in multimodal listening and speaking, and my friend whom I love and I'm proud of. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Sili Amri as the moderator in today discussion class. And let me introduce my friend.
My name is Indrana Shafira.
My name is Salwa Diana Zahra.
My name is Soba Soliana.
My name is Vida Maria Marta.
Okay, our discussion is speaking and listening process. And the first material will be explained by Indriana Shafira. Time is yours.
First material about speaking and listening process in multimodal listening and speaking. According to English journal book entitled Multimodal Listening and Speaking, Theoretical Perspective, Methodological Process, and Pedagogical Implication by Zhang, Chen, and Zhang, 2020. The listening and speaking process in multimodal listening and speaking can be divided into two stages, namely, first is input processing stage. On this stage involves the process of understanding and interpreting information received from multimodal channels such as visual, audio, and chat. So on this stage, like similar to regular listening process, but more complex. Listener not only focus to speaker word, but also focus to their body language and facial expression, and making sense of any visual or text that's presented. For the example, when someone is giving presentation, they usually will use like media like PPT, yeah. And as audience, we cannot just focus to speaker word, but also to their text that presented. Understand? Okay, the second stage is output processing. This stage involves the process of producing a response that is coherent and relevant to the information received. So, on this process, also similar to listening regular and speaking regular, but more complex. Speaker or listener need to coordinate the different multimodal in order to produce a coherent and meaningful response. For the example, when customer service listen to customer complaint, they make use facial expression and also body language to show that they are listening and understanding. So the next material will be delivered by Mbak Dina. Thank you.
Okay, the next material is listening process. There are some steps in listening process. The first step is receiving, the first stage of the listening process, and involves hearing and attending. So when we are listening, we are not just hearing the words that are being spoken, but we are also paying attention to the speaker's body language, tone of voice, and other nonverbal cues. The second step is selection. Is the listener selects the most relevant information from the various mode of communication. So in this selection process, that we can like filter out the what is most important in the information. The selection process is like essential for effective listening, as it allows us to filter out irrelevant information and focus on the most important information. Next slide. The third is remembering. Remembering is the third stage of the listening process and involves storing the speaker's message in our memory. We can remember the information by repeating it to ourselves or taking notes, or we can organizing it in a way that makes sense to us. So if the more we think about and process the information, the more likely we're to remember it. Okay, that's all. The next material will be explained by Sofa. Time is yours.
Okay, the next step in listening process is interpretation. The listener interprets the speaker message based on their own knowledge and experience. So, interpretation in the listening process is the stage where we use our knowledge and understanding of the word to make sense the speaker's meaning. We do this by combining the auditory information we receive with our thought, feelings, and experience. The interpretation in the listening process is important because it allows us to understand the speaker message on a deeper level. We can also use interpretation to identify the speaker main points, assumptions, and biases. The last step in the listening process is evaluation. The listener evaluates the speaker's message and determines its credibility and relevance. So, evaluation in the listening process is the stage where we assess the value of the meaning, the value of the message we have received. This involves considering the speaker's credibility and then the evidence they present and overall soundness of their argument. We also evaluate the message based on our value and belief. We may agree or disagree with the speaker's conclusion, and we may consider whether or not the meaning of whether or not the message is consistent in our knowledge or experience. Next slide, please. Okay, the next is speaking process in multimodal listening and speaking. The first step in speaking process is planning. The speaker plans their message and decide what information to include and how to present it. So, the first step is speaking process is planning. Planning in the speaking process is the stage where we organize our thoughts and ideas before we start speaking. This involves considering our purpose, our audience, and the message we want to convey. Okay, the next step in speaking process will be explained by Salwa.
Okay, the second step, production. The speaker production their message using the various modes of communication. The speaker products his message using several modes of communication, such as talking face to face or using social media. Next. The 3-second monitoring. The speaker monitors their message and
as needed. So the speaker user whether the message can be recorded by the listener or not, and whether the message is according to the needs of the listener. The last feedback, the speaker receives feedback from the listener and adjust their message accordingly. Feedback between the speaker and the listener is important, and the conversation can tailor its message to the listener. The next slide will be explained by Mbak Shirley.
Okay, the last slide is example of listening and speaking process. The first example is presentation. The activities of presentation is we will do speaking and listening process that example of activities that involve listening and speaking process are presentation. Wherein this activity we are required to involve speaking and listening. That speaking will be present by our presenter, and the audience must be listening. Okay. We are required to involve speaking as a form of delivering the material to the audience and inviting the audience to talk so that they don't get bored. Okay. The second example is film. Film is also an activity that involves listening and speaking process. The speaking in question is the voice that emerges from the actor in this film, while listening about when we watch the film. Just like film, there are video. Video also involves both, which involves speaking and listening. And the last is games. The game referred to here are games that involve two or more people. For example, when we playing snakes and ladders. Did you know? Snake and ladders. Yes, the one. Ular tangga gitu ya. Nah, one child will give instruction regarding the game, and the other are required to listen to the instruction in order to run the game well. Okay. Maybe that's all material from us. Any question? Oke, bisa diulang?
One, two, three.
Kia.
Okay, my name is Lazaro. My name is Please, can you explain again? Thank you.
Any other question?
Okay. My name is Asina. Number 55. Okay. What is the actual relationship between listening and speaking? And why is listening so important for speaking?
Okay, any other question?
How do your group think we can recognize and overcome barriers to listening and speaking? Bagaimana pendapat kalian tentang hambatan itu? Bagaimana cara kita mengenali hambatan untuk belajar speaking sama
Okay, maybe. Okay, maybe the three question is enough. And give me time to discussion.
Wes.